Right then, United are back in action tomorrow, and it's Aston Villa. Did we do that? We've done that already. Oh, we're doing it again. We're doing it again. Right, we're doing it again. But this time it's the League Cup. So what do we want to see in the League Cup? Well, we don't want to see what we usually see, if you're catching what I'm saying. We want to see some lads given a rest. And I've gone with a very, very rested team, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. New manager bounce after Steven Gerrard got his marching orders and was clearly holding them back. They look great against us. Can they replicate that level of intensity? Very much doubt it. We still haven't conceded at Old Trafford in over 8 hours, but this being the League Cup, I can actually see that happening, in all honesty. So let's get stuck into it, shall we? How do they play? Well, normally Emery likes to have his team on the pitch in a very mobile, very 4-4-2 reminiscent sort of formation. We saw at times at weekend, they were even in a 5-4-1. They were just packing it behind. You know the dance with Emery. If he gets a goal up, you're in trouble. If he gets 2 goals up, you might as well just sod it off and go home, because that's it, game over. Now, I'm not 100% sure on how he likes to treat the League Cup. He might want to use it to freshen up some of his lads. He might not have been there long enough to know who needs a refresh. So I would expect a relatively strong Aston Villa side. And that doesn't affect my thinking in the slightest, because I want to see United go and play some of these kids and fringe players so some of them can make a bit of a bid at getting into the first 11. What I will say is, especially after what we saw at weekend, star man for Aston Villa, I think it's probably going to be Ollie Watkins. Sort of profile of player that we know Emery likes. Really looks good with his tactics. Him and Bailey wreaked havoc against us at the weekend. He's only got 2 goals and 2 assists, but he can be a real handful on his day. And if we do play a rotated side, it's going to be a test for us. He's quick, constant threat in behind, and when you're trying to play a high line, that is a threat. And I do believe Harry Maguire's going to play, so that is a threat that you're going to have to deal with. He makes clever runs into the inside left channel. He's also a threat when he's got the ball at his feet. He can dribble. He's got a quick shift. He's got a knack of finding space. And he can strike the ball with both feet. And that is a problem. Match winner for United? Well, let's talk about the 11 first, shall we? Because the 11 is going to be very, very important. And it is, listen, it's going to be totally rotated, so just accept that already. And I hope it's heavily rotated, because United need that. We've got to focus on Fulham at weekend, because in the hunt for top 4, look, if Erik ten Hag comes 5th and win the League Cup, do you think they're keeping him? Or do you think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him? And some of the fans that we've got are going to absolutely hound him for that. So Erik ten Hag has to prioritise the league. No one cares about the League Cup. As much as we all want to say we want to win trophies, you're measured on the league. So he needs to be performing in the league. So this is my team that I would go with against Aston Villa in the League Cup. Okay, Heaton in net. Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Do you remember Aaron Wan-Bissaka when we used to play him? Well, he's the only other right back on the club's books pretty much. So let's play him today. Malacia on the left. It'll be Harry Maguire, because it'll be Harry Maguire. And I'd like to see Ted and Mengi. Or Tuanzebe, but one of those 2. Let's go with Mengi, because I know what he's been playing lately. Midfield 3 of Zidane, Iqbal, McTominay and Fred. A little bit stronger that there than perhaps everywhere else. Debatable, the attack's quite strong as well. Alanga on the right, Garnacho on the left, and then potentially the match winner of the day, and someone that we're all hoping can come and hit the ground running and stay fit, please, Anthony Martial. Been in good form when he's been fit, and he's going to need an opportunity to stake his claim at being Manchester United's number 9. And tomorrow, that's his opportunity, I believe. He gives us more of a physical threat and certainly more energetic threat, which I didn't think I'd ever be saying about Anthony Martial, than we get with Ronaldo. He definitely is a good focal point, good at bringing others into the game. His link-up play in the middle third is pretty good, or can be pretty good. It's been hit and miss sometimes, but it can be pretty good. What we saw in pre-season, which is prejudicing my thoughts and what I'm sort of pinning everything on, was very good. So let's see some of that. He's got a tendency to drift into that left kind of channel, particularly against the narrow back line, and that might open up some space for Malacia, might open up some space for Garnacho. You can get Garnacho 1v1 with someone, we know what he can do. I'm hoping he's coming out here with something to prove. That's what I really want to see. How do we beat them? oh, just look at what we did at weekend and don't do that. But if you want to get a little bit more technical, transitions and pressing high. The transitions where you're going to get a lot of joy, you can catch them out of that defensive shape that Emery likes to sit in. If you can catch them on the transition, you can make something happen there. Mings has got to be the pressing trigger because he's absolutely awful. Mings is shit. If you can press, you can take the ball off him, especially because they're playing they're going to go from being in a bit of a 4-4-2 to try and transition to a 4-2-3-1 and create angles and triangles. And when they do that, they're not going to be in those positions to go with, and that's where you can squeeze and take advantage and try and take the ball off them. In the wide areas, oh my God, there's so much space against these. So much space, and we didn't utilize it enough. Our passing was gash on Sunday. They're always narrow out of possession, and they leave you a lot of space in the wide areas. So use them and attacking them. They conceded 4 goals from the wide areas against Newcastle. Deliveries into the box are going to be important, as is movement into the box. Both the fullbacks at Villa are better going forward than they are defensively. So just run at them for Christ's sake. That's what we didn't do enough of at weekend. We didn't do a lot of things, to be honest. But we didn't do that enough. Concentrate at all times, because Villa, as they've shown, if you're not concentrating, this Aston Villa side can just be deadly. They can be dangerous. They can get amongst it. They can get onto you, and they can cause you problems. No matter how shit Villa have been at times this season, they do have quality forward players that can and will hurt you. They are not short of those. We saw plenty of that this weekend where they took the piss out of us, to be honest. Now, I'm hoping a little bit of rest, a little bit of concentration, a little bit of a change of the 11. Manchester United can come into this game and actually do something. You cannot overlook what Aston Villa are going to do to you. You really can't, because they can come at you and they can do bits. Now, Garnacho, for me, keep playing him unless Sancho is fit and ready to rock and roll. If Anthony's fit, you might see a bit of Anthony and maybe bring him back into the team. Zidane Iqbal's been unfortunate, I would say, to be behind Eriksen and Casemiro in the pecking order, because otherwise I think he may have featured. This is the perfect opportunity for him to get some minutes. Maybe we're hopeful here with Heaton and Mengi getting some time, but this is what it's all about. This is what this cup is here for, is to bring through some other players. Like I've said plenty of times, you don't get to stay the Manchester United manager because you delivered a League Cup. You don't. You just don't. You've got to win the big stuff. You've got to perform in the league. You've got to keep that Champions League revenue rolling in, otherwise the board's not going to give a shit. They do not care about the League Cup. So use it for minutes. If you can progress in it, fantastic. If we can get a final out of it, fantastic. Yeah, and I obviously would like to win it. But realistically, we've got to focus on the league. And being in that extra knockout round of the Europa League, we don't really need the extra ties. You don't. And we've got a small squad. So play a rotated side. Oh, did we go out? Oh, well. Concentrate on the shit that's actually going to matter. If we can play a rotated side, you're going to have a couple of lads in there that really fancy their chances at staking a claim of a first-team spot. So let them go and do it. Nice one. See you in a bit. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.